Hello everybody, Napkin99 here. This video is an introduction to a mini-series that will go over how to catch every single legendary in Pixelmon. This video in specific will just go over how legendaries spawn in general, not any specific Pokemon just yet, but stay tuned for videos about catching legendaries by generation coming soon. And without further ado, let's get into the video. If you've been playing Pixelmon a bit, you've probably seen a message in the chat saying that so-and-so has spawned in a biome near you. This, of course, is a legendary spawn. As you've probably noticed, these don't happen too frequently, unless you're lucky. Why is this? Always running in the background, there is a timer that determines when the game will try to spawn a legendary. This time, by default, is anywhere from about 12 minutes to 36 minutes. Note that if you are on a server, this is likely to be a different range of time. When the timer goes off, the game will attempt to spawn a legendary at a specific point. There are a few conditions that must be met for a legendary to spawn though. First is the spawn biome. Each legendary spawns in a certain biome or biomes, and if you're not near that biome, the legendary won't spawn. This ties in with the second condition, which is the distance from the player. By default, Pokemon cannot spawn within 18 blocks of the player and no more than 64 blocks from the player. So if you're standing within 64 blocks of 3 biomes, you could potentially have a legendary spawn from any of those 3 biomes, not just the one you're standing in. The third condition is the time of day. Legendaries will either spawn at day, night, morning, afternoon, or dawn or dusk. For the most part, it's fairly easy to tell when these times are, but if you want to get legendaries efficiently, it would be helpful to know the exacts on when these times start and end. To help us out with this, we're going to use a Pixelmon clock, which can be crafted using a vanilla clock, 7 iron ingots, and one of 12 dyes. Daytime counts from 6 AM to 6 PM on the clock. Night counts from 7:22 PM to 4:33 AM. Morning counts from 4:30 AM to 12 o'clock PM. Afternoon counts from 12 PM to 6 PM, and perhaps the most important times as they are the shortest, dawn is from 4:30 AM to 6:18 AM, and dusk is from 6 o'clock PM to 9:48 PM. I know this is quite a lot of information to take in, and generally I just look at the sky to check anyways, but if you want to use the specifics, I recommend pausing here and writing them down, or check the description as I will have them listed there as well. The last condition for a legendary spawn is the block upon which it is spawning. By default, most legendaries spawn on land, which includes most natural blocks that you find in the world. Some legendaries, particularly the ones that fly, spawn in the air, and likewise some legendaries that swim will also be found in water. There are a few other rare cases where legendaries spawn in unusual spots, but we'll get more into those in the videos following this one. Occasionally, there is also a condition that a legendary must be indoors or underground to spawn, which basically just means that the block it spawns on has to have a block above it. Now that we know all the components that go into a legendary spawn, how does it all fit together? When the aforementioned timer goes off, the game will pick a specific block anywhere between 18 to 64 blocks from you. Once the block is chosen, it then checks the biome and what legendaries can spawn in that biome. Once those legendaries are determined, it checks the time of day to see if that legendary can spawn during that time of day. And once all of this is done, it attempts to spawn a legendary, if it can on that block, with a default success rate of 30%. Which again is likely a different rate if you play on a server. If it happens that 2 different legendaries can spawn under all these conditions, another factor called weight will come into play. This isn't the actual physical weight of the Pokemon itself, but rather its rarity compared to other legendaries. As an example, a Pokemon with a weight of 4 would be more likely to be picked to spawn than one with a rarity of 1. Again, the weight only really matters when you have multiple legendaries spawning under the same conditions, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's also important to note that legendaries can spawn in raid dens, and that the message in chat will explicitly state that if it happens. A majority of legendaries can spawn in raid dens, usually in biomes similar to the ones they're normally found in. And with that pretty much wraps up everything to know about how most legendaries spawn. There are of course a few different things to cover when it comes to shrines and other ways of spawning, but we'll get more into those in the videos following this one. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, feel free to like, subscribe, and check out some of the other videos on my channel. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.